The whispers invaded my apartment like a plague, their alien cadence weaving through the air, a constant reminder that I was never truly alone. My walls were a battlefield of obsession, plastered with sketches of the door's symbols, spirals and angles that seemed to pulse in the dim light of my desk lamp. Maps of Pinnacle's tunnels crisscrossed with red string newspaper clippings about unexplained phenomena, pinned in chaotic patterns, all screaming a truth no one else would hear. Something was out there, and it knew my name. The cold spots struck without warning, turning my breath to fog, chilling my bones with a frost that felt alive. I clutched my voice recorder, my hands trembling as I documented the impossible cold event at 11:42 p.m. March 23rd, temperature plummeting. Whispers louder, almost forming words. My calendar was a graveyard of red X's, 94 days since Theo's death, 3 months of my life unraveling into a desperate quest for answers. Sleep was a lost cause. Each night, a descent into the same nightmare, the pit's edge, its darkness swirling below, something rising toward me, its form twisting in ways that made my mind scream. Theo's voice echoed sharp and accusing. It knows we're here now. It's waking up. I woke, gasping, sweat soaking my sheets, the cold lingering in my room like a shadow that refused to fade. My savings were gone. My lease notice sat unopened on the counter. My phone filled with voicemails from my mother, her voice thick with worry, urging me to see the company's therapist. But I couldn't stop. I needed to make Theo's death mean something, to prove the door was real, to silence the doubt that gnawed at my sanity. The apartment felt smaller each day, its walls closing in their shadows, shifting when I wasn't looking. I turned to the internet, scouring obscure forums dedicated to the paranormal places where the desperate and delusional gathered to share their truths. Most posts were nonsense, wild tales of ghosts and conspiracies, but a few resonated, their words echoing my own cold spots in empty rooms, whispers in languages no one could name, glimpses of spaces that shouldn't exist. I created an anonymous account, my fingers hesitating over the keys before I began posting my story, carefully at first, then with reckless abandon, desperation overriding fear. I uploaded my sketches of the symbols, crude but haunting, comparing them to ancient scripts, Sumerian, cuneiform, linear, hoping someone, anyone, would recognize them. The responses were brutal: mockery, accusations of insanity, suggestions I check myself into a hospital. Another nutcase with a ghost story. One user wrote, "Seek help before you hurt someone," said another. But a few were different. Their questions sharp, their curiosity genuine. "Have you seen the symbols?" "Move," one asked. "Do the whispers follow you?" asked another. Their words were a lifeline pulling me from the abyss of doubt. I spent hours replying, my fingers flying over the keys, chasing connections that might explain what I'd seen. One night, as I updated a post about the spiral symbol, the air in my apartment plummeted, my breath clouding in front of the laptop screen. The whispers surged louder than ever, their jagged cadence almost forming words, a language that twisted my thoughts. My screen flickered, going black, before returning with a single sentence, repeated across my document. "We see you searching. We know you remember." My blood turned to ice, my hands frozen above the keyboard, the words searing into my mind. The whispers grew surrounding me, a chorus of voices that weren't human, their tone both a promise and a threat. "Who are you?" I asked aloud, my voice shaking in the frigid air. "What do you want?" The screen flickered again, new words appearing. More doors. Many doors. All opening soon. My laptop shut down, the cold intensifying until ice crystals formed on my coffee cup, glittering in the lamplight. The whispers swelled a cacophony that clawed at my sanity, their words slipping away before I could grasp them. Then, as suddenly as it began, it stopped. The air warmed. The whispers faded. My laptop rebooted, as if nothing had happened. I sat trembling, my heart pounding the truth, undeniable. This wasn't my imagination. Something had reached through from that other place, and it had found me. I grabbed a notebook, scribbling every detail, my hand shaking so badly the words were barely legible. I had to share this, to find others who'd seen what I had, who'd felt this fear. I typed through the night, documenting every moment since Bob's call. The door's unnatural cold, the cavern's impossible vastness. Theo's death under falling stone, the whispers that followed me home. I posted it all on every paranormal forum I could find, attaching my sketches, maps, and theories, along with my email for private replies. I wasn't crazy, I wrote. Something exists beyond our world, and it's finding ways through these doors. If you've seen anything like this, contact me. We need to understand before it's too late. By dawn, my inbox was flooded. Hundreds of messages, most filled with scorn or pity. Get help. One read. Nice fiction, said another. But one stood out. Its subject line, a jolt to my heart. Regarding your door symbols, urgent. It was from Dr. Kamila Patel, lead geologist at the Chandraur mining operation in Mumbai, India. Her words were precise, professional, but laced with urgency. She'd found a door 3 weeks ago. Identical symbols, a 15-degree temperature drop, whispers haunting her team. Attached were 4 photos, a massive stone slab, darker than pinnacles, veined with quartz. But the symbols were unmistakable. The central spiral prominent, its curves, a silent command to open. I stared at the images, my hands trembling, relief and fear crashing over me. The door was real, not a delusion, not a hallucination. I replied instantly, my fingers flying, Dr. Patel. Your email confirms I'm not alone. I'm willing to travel to Mumbai immediately to consult. Have you attempted to open the door? I hit send, my heart racing, the first spark of hope since Theo's death. I wasn't crazy. Others had seen, it felt, it feared it. That day, I drove to Fairplay, a mining town near Pinnacle, to find Marcus Riley, one of the first to discover the door. The broken pick was a run-down bar, its neon sign flickering weakly in the dusk, its windows clouded with grime. Inside, cigarette smoke hung heavy. Despite the ban, the air thick with the scent of stale beer and despair. Marcus sat alone in a corner booth, his face aged beyond his 50 years, his hands trembling around a whiskey glass. His employee photo from Pinnacle's records was a distant memory, his beard now unkempt, his eyes bloodshot. You're Hayes, he said, his voice rough, barely glancing up. The one who was there when that kid died. Theo, I said, sliding into the booth. His name was Theo. I need to know what you saw in E15. He flinched, his eyes darting around the bar, checking for eavesdroppers. I don't talk about that. Not to company men. I'm not with Pinnacle anymore, I said, leaning forward. They fired me for not letting it go. He studied me, his gaze sharpening, then nodded slowly. Buy me another whiskey, and I'll talk. I signaled the bartender, the clink of coins on the counter, a small price for truth. When the drink arrived, Marcus leaned closer, his voice barely above a whisper. We were extending E15 routine work, nothing special. Then we hit something stone smooth, like polished marble, covered in weird markings. The drill stopped dead, like it hit steel. We cleared the debris and saw it a door 8 feet tall, carved with symbols no one recognized. I nodded, my pulse quickening. What happened next? The boss told us to stop, report it. He said, his hands shaking. But before that, I touched one, a spiral. It felt alive, pulling my hand toward it. The door opened, just a crack. Cold air rushed out, colder than anything I've felt. And I saw something, a huge space, bigger than possible, with structures moving in ways that hurt to look at. Not buildings, not machines, something else. I pulled out my sketch, the spiral, crude but unmistakable. This, he stared, his face draining of color, and pushed it away, like it might burn him. That's it. You saw it too. I went through. With Theo. I said, my voice steady, despite the memories flooding back. I saw what was beyond. Then you know it wasn't meant for us, he said, his voice breaking. Since that day, I can't get warm. Always cold, like something followed me out. At night, I hear voices, things no one should hear. I felt it too. The cold, the whispers, the sense of being watched. Have you told anyone else? I asked. Who'd believe me? He said, draining his glass. They'd lock me up. The others who saw it. Jack, Pete, Tom, they felt it too. Most quit. Jack has nightmares. Pete drinks more than me. Tom moved to Florida, said he needed warmth. I need to understand, I said. What are these doors? Where do they lead? He shook his head. His eyes haunted. Don't know. Don't want to know. But if one exists, there could be more hidden waiting. He stood, leaving cash on the table. His shoulders hunched against an invisible weight. Good luck, Hayes. Some doors should stay closed. I stayed until closing, nursing a beer, my notebook filling with his words. Marcus's confirmation was a spark igniting my resolve. If one door existed, others could too, buried in the earth, whispering their secrets. I drove home, the mountains looming in the darkness, my mind racing with possibilities. The whispers followed me, faint but persistent, and I knew I was on the edge of something bigger, something that could change everything or destroy it. My inbox was a flood of voices, each message a thread, weaving a tapestry of terror across the globe. The notifications came relentlessly piling up through the night, pulling me from fitful sleep. The doors were everywhere, and they were waking up. I sat at my desk, the laptop's glow casting harsh shadows across my apartment. Now, a shrine to my obsession. Sketches of spirals pinned to the walls, maps marked with red X's, red string, connecting fragments of a truth I couldn't fully grasp. Dr. Camila Patel's email was the first I opened her words, a lifeline. In the darkness, a door in Mumbai's Chandraur mine, identical symbols, a 15-degree temperature, drop whispers haunting her team. Her photos showed a stone slab darker than pinnacles, veined with quartz, but the spiral was unmistakable. its curves a silent command to open. I read her message again, my heart pounding with a mix of relief and dread. "We've secured the site," she wrote. "Armed guards restricted access. No one has touched the symbols after your account. I'd like to consult directly. Time is critical." Team members report cold spots and acoustic anomalies in their homes. Attached were 4 photos, each a stab to my chest. The door's surface, its symbols glowing faintly, measurement markers, confirming its reality. I enlarged the images, studying every detail, the quartz veins glinting like veins of ice, the spiral pulling at me like it had in Colorado. I replied, instantly, my fingers trembling. "Dr. Patel, your email confirms I'm not alone. I'll travel to Mumbai immediately to consult. I have extensive notes and sketches. Has anyone approached the door I hit? Send my pulse racing, the first spark of hope since Theo's death." I wasn't crazy. Others had seen. It felt it feared it. But the fear was tempered by purpose, a need to understand what these doors were, what they wanted. More emails poured in, each one a shard of the same nightmare. Jean Marot, a spelunker from Lyon, wrote of symbols in a cave. The cold, defying explanation, whispers following him home. The local authorities called it graffiti, but I know better. A North Sea oil rig worker described a smooth wall at 3,000 meters, symbols like mine, with 3 workers quitting after hearing voices that followed them to shore. A construction supervisor in Osaka sent a brief, awkward message. A door found in a subway project, sealed with concrete. The next day, yet cold spots and whispers persisted in his home, his children waking from nightmares. A graduate student in Cairo, a mining engineer in South Africa, a military contractor at an undisclosed site, all reported doors or fragments, identical symbols and phenomena that mirrored my own. Each message was a pin on a mental map, a growing network of terror stretching across the globe. I read them obsessively, my eyes burning from the screen's glow. The apartment's silence, broken only by the hum of my laptop and the occasional whisper that wasn't there. The Cairo student sent a blurry photo of symbols carved in limestone, incomplete but unmistakable. The South African engineer described a partial door in a diamond mine, its cold seeping into his dreams. The contractor's message was cryptic, mentioning a classified site, but the symbols were the same, the whispers identical. I saved every email, every image, my notebook filling with details, my resolve hardening. I packed light clothes, notebooks, sketches, digital copies of my research set to email others if I didn't return. My bank account was nearly empty, my life in ruins. But I used my last credit card to book a flight to Mumbai, a brutal 30-hour journey with multiple layovers. The plane was a cocoon of exhaustion and fear, my mind replaying the cavern, Theo's broken body, the whispers that wouldn't leave me. I clutched my notebook, its pages worn from constant handling. The symbols, a constant reminder of what I'd seen, what I'd lost. Mumbai greeted me with a wall of heat noise and crowds, a city where ancient and modern collided in a chaotic dance. A driver held a sign with my name sent by Dr. Patel, navigating through traffic that felt like a living thing, honking and weaving through gleaming high-rises and crumbling slums. The Chandror mining headquarters was a fortress of glass and steel, ringed by a high fence and armed guards. They checked my passport, their eyes sharp, before letting me through. Dr. Patel met me in the lobby, her handshake firm, her black hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. "Thank you for coming, Griffin," she said, her English accented but flawless. "Your post has changed everything. I'm just glad someone believes me," I said, my voice rough from lack of sleep. For months, I thought I was losing it. She led me to an elevator, inserting a key card to access a lower level. "More people know about the door than I'd like," she said, "but we've contained the information." We descended deep below the building, passing security checkpoints where I surrendered my phone. "Precautionary," she explained. "Equipment fails around the artifacts." Artifacts. I asked, my pulse quickening. The word heavy with implications. "You'll see," she said, her eyes gleaming with a mix of excitement and fear. The elevator opened to a research facility that looked like something from a science fiction film. White walls, bright lights, advanced equipment surrounding a central conference area. A team of 10 weighted their faces, a mix of determination and dread. Gian Maro, a wiry Frenchman with weathered skin, nodded grimly. Hiroshi Tanaka, a Japanese physicist, bowed formally. Sarah Chen, a Chinese archaeologist, shook my hand with surprising strength. Others, a Russian geologist, a Brazilian investigator, an Australian military consultant, greeted me with eyes that mirrored my own haunted look. "You've all seen them?" I asked, taking a seat, the weight of their gazes pressing against me. "Some directly," Dr. Patel said, sitting beside me. "Others are here for their expertise. We're united by the understanding that these doors are beyond science as we know it." John leaned forward, his voice low. "I found fragments in a lion cave in January. Not a full door, but the cold. It's not natural." Hiroshi nodded. "In Osaka, A subway project uncovered a door. Corporate sealed it with concrete, but the phenomena, cold spots, whispers, continue. Sarah added, workers report equipment, failures voices at night. Covering it didn't stop it. Dr. Patel gestured to a large screen, displaying a world map, red pins marking door locations. 17 doors, or fragments, across 6 continents, all found within the past year with increasing frequency. I felt a chill, not from the room, but from the truth dawning on me. It's not a coincidence, I said, my voice steady, despite the fear. Something's happening, and it's accelerating. The team debated theories late into the night. Parallel dimensions, ancient technology, an invasion from another realm. I spread my sketches on the table, the symbols crude but recognizable. Has anyone translated them? I asked my fingers, tracing the spiral that had opened the Colorado door. Sarah shook her head. They don't match any known script, but they have mathematical properties, suggesting a deliberate pattern, not decoration. Like a signal, Gene said quietly, his eyes distant. For whatever's on the other side. The words hung heavy. A truth we all felt but couldn't fully grasp. The doors were waking their whispers, growing louder, their cold spreading. We were running out of time, and I was at the center of it, drawn to the truth, like a moth to a flame, knowing it could burn me to ash. The artifact room was a frozen vault, its air thick with secrets that didn't belong in our world. Dr. Patel led me through heavy double doors, the temperature dropping sharply, my breath fogging as we entered a space lined with glass cases, each holding fragments of a reality we couldn't comprehend. These were pieces of the door's relics, of something older than time itself. The first case contained a curved metal fragment, the size of my hand, shimmering with an inner light that shifted as I moved its surface, etched with symbols that matched the door's spirals and angles. From Mumbai, Dr. Patel said, her voice low. It doesn't emit measurable radiation or light, yet it glows to the human eye. Spectrographic analysis shows elements not on the periodic table. I stared, transfixed, the fragment's light pulling at me, a silent call to touch it. I resisted my hands, clenching the memory of the Colorado door's cold, burning in my mind. The next case held a crystalline formation, like those in the Colorado cavern, pulsing faintly as I approached. From a South African diamond mine, Dr. Patel said. It responds to human proximity, brightening when we're near. The crystal's glow intensified its rhythm, syncing with my heartbeat. And I felt it, the presence, watching, waiting, the same sensation I'd felt in the cavern. My breath caught the cold, sinking into my bones, a chill that wasn't just temperature, but something alive, aware. Each case held something impossible, materials that shifted shape when viewed from different angles, surfaces that bent light in ways that hurt to look at symbols that seemed to move under scrutiny. A shard of stone from a Russian mine, veined with a metallic sheen, pulsed faintly, its symbols glowing in sync with the others. A twisted fragment from an underwater site off Japan, its surface slick and organic, seemed to ripple as I passed. "They're all connected," I whispered, my voice trembling, my breath fogging in the frigid air. "We believe so," Dr. Patel said, her eyes sharp with purpose. "But connected to what? That's the question." We returned to the conference room. The team gathered around a table strewn with research maps, photos, readouts of temperature spikes, and electromagnetic anomalies. The map on the screen showed red pins across 6 continents, mines, caves, underwater sites, all hiding doors or fragments, all discovered within the past year. 17 confirmed, Sarah said, pointing to the map. Most underground, but a few in remote or submerged locations. "The frequency is increasing," the Russian geologist nodded. "In recent months, reports have doubled. It's not random. I told them my story, every detail, from Bob's call to Theo's death. The cover-up, the whispers that followed me home." No one interrupted their faces, intense with belief, a stark contrast to the skepticism I'd faced at Pinnacle. "Your experience aligns with ours," Dr. Patel said when I finished, her voice solemn. "The doors are access points, but to what we're still debating." The Australian consultant spoke, his voice blunt. In the outback, 3 soldiers entered a door during a training exercise. Only one returned, describing a space like yours, impossible structures, a pit. He died hours later. Cellular deterioration, no cause found. My stomach twisted. Theo's warning echoing. "Don't let anyone else come through." Has anyone tried opening the Mumbai door? I asked, my voice tight. "No," Dr. Patel said firmly. "After your account, we implemented strict protocols. The doors behind 3 security checkpoints. No one touches the symbols. I need to see it," I said, the pull of the door undeniable, a force that both terrified and compelled me. Dr. Patel hesitated, checking her watch. "It's nearly midnight. You've been traveling for over 30 hours. "It can wait," I wanted to argue, but exhaustion weighed me down, my body heavy with the strain of the journey. They gave me a room in the facility, small but functional, with a bed desk and bathroom. Sleep was fitful, the whispers finding me even here across the world. They were excited now, almost triumphant, as if they knew I was close to another door. I lay awake. The symbols burned into my mind, their spirals twisting in my thoughts. Morning came too soon. A faint light filtering through the window. Mumbai's chaos, a distant hum. After a quick breakfast, Dr. Patel led me Jin Hiroshi and the Australian to the Chandror mine, a sprawling complex of steel and dust, its air thick with the scent of earth and machinery. We passed multiple security checkpoints, guards checking our credentials with cold efficiency. The elevator descended nearly 2,000 feet, the air growing colder, my breath fogging as we approached the eastern shaft, quarantined under the pretense of structural concerns. We're keeping operations normal to avoid suspicion, Dr. Patel said, her voice steady but tense. But the doors section is sealed. At the final checkpoint, the cold hit like a physical force sinking into my bones, a chill that echoed Colorado's nightmare. The tunnel ended in a chamber, floodlights illuminating a stone door, massive, dark, veined with quartz, its symbols glowing faintly, the spiral pattern, a silent command. I stopped, my heart pounding, memories of Theo flooding back, his nervous smile, his terror, his broken body. It's the same, I said, my voice barely audible, the weight of it all pressing down. We've installed monitoring equipment, Dr. Patel said, gesturing to cameras, sensors, and screens. Temperature, acoustic, radiation, all recorded 24/7. Hiroshi checked a tablet, his face grim. Low-frequency vibrations, occasional acoustic anomalies, whispers like you described. It's active. I approached the door, stopping short, its cold radiating like a warning, seeping through my clothes, my skin, my soul. The symbols were identical to Colorado's, their curves and angles shifting in my peripheral vision as if alive. The spiral opens it, I said, pointing to the central pattern. I traced it before. It's the key. No one touches it, Dr. Patel said, her voice sharp. Not until we're prepared, I nodded, but the door pulled at me, its symbols whispering secrets I couldn't ignore. We spent hours documenting cameras, zooming in on symbols, laser scanners, building 3D models, audio equipment, capturing faint vibrations. The readings were erratic, temperature drops, electromagnetic spikes, radiation bursts with no source. It's not static, Hiroshi said, his eyes on the data. It's changing, responding to us. Sarah studied the symbols beside me, her voice low. They're consistent with your door. The spiral's the trigger. It wants to be opened. I felt a chill, not from the cold, but from her words. It's not just a passage, I said, my voice trembling. It's a message, a communication we don't understand. She nodded slowly. A message from what, though? That's what we're here to find. The Mumbai mine was a labyrinth of steel and stone, its air heavy with secrets that didn't belong in our reality. We descended to the door, the elevator's rumble, a faint echo of the terror I'd felt in Colorado, its vibrations shaking my bones like a warning. The doors were calling, and I was answering whether I wanted to or not. Dr. Patel led our team, Jean Hiroshi, the Australian, and me, through a maze of security checkpoints, each gate a reminder of the danger we faced. The air grew colder, with each step my breath fogging the scent of earth and metal, thick in my throat. The final checkpoint opened to a rough tunnel, its walls jagged, its string lights flickering, leading to a chamber where the door waited a monolith of dread. The cold struck like a blade, piercing my skin, sinking into my bones. A chill that wasn't just temperature, but something alive, aware. Floodlights illuminated the door, massive, dark, veined with quartz, its symbols glowing faintly. The spiral pattern, a silent command that pulled at my soul. I stopped, my heart pounding, memories of Colorado crashing over me. Theo's nervous smile, his terror as he fled the pit, his broken body under falling stone. It's the same, I said, my voice barely audible, the weight of those memories crushing me. Dr. Patel nodded, her face etched with determination. We've monitored it continuously. Temperature sensors, acoustic detectors, radiation monitors, all show anomalies. Hiroshi checked a tablet, his eyes narrowing. Low-frequency vibrations, occasional whispers in an unknown language. It's active, responding to our presence. I approached the door, stopping just out of reach. Its cold, radiating like a physical force, seeping through my clothes, my skin, my very being. The symbols were identical to Colorado's, their curves and angles shifting in my peripheral vision, as if alive, whispering secrets I wasn't meant to hear. The spiral opens it, I said, pointing to the central pattern, my voice steady, despite the fear churning inside me. I traced it in Colorado. It's the key. No one touches it, Dr. Patel said, her voice cutting through the tension. Not until we're prepared for what might come through. I nodded, but the door's pull was undeniable, a force that both terrified and compelled me, its symbols calling to me like a siren song. We spent hours in the chamber, documenting every detail, cameras zooming in on the symbols' intricate patterns, laser scanners, building three-dimensional models, audio equipment, capturing the faint vibrations that hummed through the stone. The readings were erratic, temperature drops of 15 degrees, electromagnetic spikes, with no source radiation, bursts that defied explanation. It's not static, Hiroshi said, his voice low, his eyes fixed on the data. It's changing. Maybe because we're here. Sarah joined us. Her notebook. Open her fingers, tracing the symbols' outlines. They're consistent with your door, she said, her voice tense. The spiral's the trigger. It wants to be opened. I felt a chill, not from the cold, but from her words, their weight settling over me like a shroud. It's not just a passage, I said, my voice trembling with the realization. It's a message, a communication we're only beginning to understand. She nodded, slowly, her eyes meeting mine. A message from what, though? That's the question we're here to answer. We returned to the research facility that evening, the team gathering around a table strewn with maps, photos, and scientific readouts. The map on the screen showed the global scope, red pins marking doors in mines, caves, underwater sites, all pulsing with the same anomalies. We need protocols, the Australian said, his voice blunt. Security measures, containment procedures, emergency responses for a global phenomenon, and better documentation. Sarah added her eyes on me. Griffin's experience is invaluable, but we need data from beyond the doors. You're suggesting we open one, John said, his voice heavy with unease, voicing the thought we all shared. Not immediately, Dr. Patel said, her tone firm, but open. But eventually, with preparation, equipment, safety measures, a full team, all eyes turned to me. Their weight, a burden I couldn't escape. Griffin, Dr. Patel said, her voice steady. You're the only one we know who's gone through and returned. Your input is critical. What would you recommend if we document what's beyond? I saw Theo's broken body, heard his warning. Don't let anyone else come through. The memory was a wound, raw and bleeding, but I couldn't turn away from the truth. Don't go, I said, my voice heavy with the weight of loss. But if you must prepare for something that doesn't follow our rules, physics biology time, take weapons, but don't expect them to work. Take cameras, but they'll fail. Stay together. Stay close to the door. And have a way to close it. The Colorado door closed itself, but we can't count on that. John frowned, his eyes narrowing. What about the phenomena following you home? Could opening a door release something into our world? I think it already has, I said quietly, the whispers echoing in my mind. Each time a door is found, something changes. Knowing they exist shifts our reality, our connection to whatever's beyond. The discussion stretched late into the night, plans forming a network, taking shape, informal, but driven, dedicated to understanding the doors and what lay beyond. Dr. Patel walked me to my quarters, her voice soft but resolute. "Thank you, Griffin," she said. "Your confirmation has accelerated our work. This is just the beginning. I know," I said, the whispers louder. Now, their words a warning. The doors are opening everywhere. We are coming through. I lay awake in my room, the Mumbai night, humming outside the door's symbols, burned into my mind. Whatever waited beyond was coming, and I was the one who'd face it first, whether I was ready or not. The Santiago night was alive with whispers, their alien cadence weaving through the hotel window, carried on the scent of unfamiliar flowers. I stood by the glass, the city's lights glittering against the Andes' dark silhouette. My reflection, a ghost of the man I'd been before the door. Something was coming, and I was its herald. My hands traced the worn sketch of the spiral symbol. Its curves burned into my memory, a constant reminder of Theo's death and the nightmare that followed me. 2 months since Mumbai, and the whispers had grown louder, more insistent, as if the doors knew I was drawing closer to another. My phone buzzed Dr. Patel's name, flashing on the screen. "Final equipment check complete," she said, her voice steady but tight. "Everything's ready for tomorrow's descent." Any changes in temperature readings, I turned from the window, my breath fogging faintly, though the room was warm, dropping steadily. Another 2 degrees since this afternoon. "It's responding to our presence," she said, echoing my thoughts. "Meet in the lobby at 5. Try to get some sleep, Griffin." Sleep was a cruel joke. I hadn't rested properly since Colorado, not since the whispers found me, their voices a constant shadow in my mind. I checked my equipment bag, specialized cameras, protective gear, emergency kits, each item a talisman against the unknown. The protocols we'd developed in Mumbai had evolved refined, with every new report of a door. I sat on the bed, the framed photo of Theo and me on the nightstand taken that last morning before we descended. His nervous smile haunted me, a reminder of my failure, my guilt. I'd visited his grave before leaving Colorado, standing over the simple headstone, promising to make his death mean something. Now, on the eve of another descent, I wondered if I could keep that vow. The nightmares came as soon as I closed my eyes. The pit's edge, the darkness swirling below, something rising, its form twisting in ways that hurt to see. But tonight was different. Tonight, I wasn't alone. Dr. Patel, Gian Hiroshi. The entire Mumbai team stood behind me, their faces pale, their eyes accusing. And Theo was there watching from the shadows, his voice a whisper, it knows we're here now. I woke, gasping, sweat soaking my shirt, the room colder than it should be, the whispers lingering like a stain. I checked the time. 4:15 a.m., and dressed in the specialized thermal gear we'd designed for door expeditions. Its fabric heavy, but reassuring. The lobby was a hive of tension. The team assembling in the pre-dawn gloom, 20 people, a mix of scientists, security personnel, and tech specialists, each chosen for their expertise. Dr. Patel stood at the center, reviewing plans with Ramirez, our security lead, a former military operator with a no-nonsense edge. Griffin, she greeted me, her nod brisk. Final briefing in 5 minutes. I moved through the group, checking equipment, reviewing protocols. The mood was electric, a mix of fear and determination. Everyone knew the stakes. Theo's death, the Outback soldier's fate, the whispers that followed us all. I clutched my notebook, its pages worn from constant handling the symbols, a constant reminder of what we faced. The team gathered around a holographic display of the mine layout, Dr. Patel's voice cutting through the tension. We descend to level 4-1, 200 feet below surface. Security sets Perimeter's research team establishes monitoring equipment. No one approaches the door until all systems are online. She looked at me, her eyes steady. Griffin has final authority on opening the door. If we proceed, only the primary team approaches. Secondary team stays at a safe distance. Everyone nodded, the protocols rehearsed dozens of times. A tech specialist raised a hand. What if something comes through instead of us going in? Ramirez answered, his voice flat. Containment protocols engage immediately. Priority is withdrawal. We're not equipped for hostile engagement with unknown entities. The words hung heavy, a reminder of our vulnerability. I felt the team's eyes on me, their trust a burden I wasn't sure I deserved. Any other questions? Dr. Patel asked. When no one spoke, she nodded sharply. Let's move out. The drive to the mine took an hour, dawn breaking over the Andes, their peaks jagged against a blood-red sky. The mining complex was a sprawl of steel and dust, its air thick with the scent of earth and machinery. The site manager met us nervous, eyeing our equipment. Everything's prepared, he said. Level 4 is cleared. Only your team has access. The descent was a descent into memory. The elevator's rumble echoing. Colorado's cage, the air growing colder, heavier. I clutched my bag, Theo's face flashing in my mind, his warning a constant echo. Don't let anyone else come through. Unlike that day, we weren't blind. We had knowledge, equipment, protocols, born from blood. Level 4 was eerily quiet. our footsteps bouncing off rocky walls, the air thick with the scent of minerals. The temperature dropped as we approached a warning sign we'd come to expect. Cold boundary established a technician called marking the point where the air plummeted 15 degrees. Setting up monitoring station here, Dr. Patel ordered security to establish perimeters, the team moving with practiced efficiency. Within 20 minutes, a research station stood at the cold boundary. Cameras, sensors, screens pointed down the tunnel toward the door. Ready for first visual confirmation, Dr. Patel set her eyes on me. I nodded, stepping forward with her and Ramirez, our headlamps cutting through the darkness. The tunnel narrowed its walls, rough, the air heavy with that metallic, organic scent I'd never forget. My heart pounded each step, a step toward the unknown, toward answers or damnation. I pushed the thought aside, focusing on the task, on the team, on Theo's memory. The door was waiting, and I was ready to face it, whether it wanted me or not. The tunnel's darkness swallowed our lights, but the door's presence called to us, a silent pulse that shook my bones. We moved forward, Dr. Patel and Ramirez at my side, the cold deepening with each step, a chill that wasn't just temperature, but a warning from something beyond. The door was here, and it knew we were coming. The air grew thick, the metallic, organic scent stronger, clinging to my throat, a reminder of the Colorado cavern. My headlamp flickered its beam, struggling against the darkness, and I felt it, the presence, watching, waiting, as if the door itself was alive. We reached the chamber floodlights illuminating the door, a massive slab of reddish copper, laden stone, its surface carved with the same spirals and angles I'd seen before. It was different from Colorado's, from Mumbai's, yet unmistakably the same, its symbols glowing faintly, the spiral pattern, a silent command. I stopped, my breath, fogging memories, crashing over me. Theo's nervous smile, his terror, his broken body. Confirmation. Positive, Dr. Patel said into her comms, her voice tight. Door artifact consistent with previous discoveries. I stood frozen. The door's cold radiating through my gear, sinking into my skin, my soul. It was nearly 8 feet tall, its surface smooth despite the rough copper stone, its symbols shifting in my peripheral vision as if daring me to look closer. My heart pounded a rhythm that synced with the faint vibrations humming through the ground. It's the same, I said, my voice barely audible, the weight of those memories crushing me. The team set up behind us, screens flickering to life, sensors humming as they recorded temperature, air pressure, electromagnetic activity, radiation levels, all showing the same anomalies we'd seen before. Phase 2, Dr. Patel announced. Full documentation and analysis before approaching. For 3 hours, we studied the door from a distance, cameras zooming in on the symbol's intricate patterns, laser scanners building 3D models, audio equipment capturing subtle vibrations. The readings were erratic temperature drops of 15 degrees electromagnetic spikes, radiation bursts with no source. "It's active," Hiroshi said, his eyes on the data. "Responding to us, just like Mumbai." Sarah joined me. Her notebook, open her fingers, tracing the symbol's outlines. "The arrangement matches your door," she said, her voice low. "The spiral's the trigger. It wants to be opened." I felt a chill, not from the cold, but from her words, their weight settling over me like a shroud. "It's not just a passage," I said, my voice trembling. "It's a communication, a message. We're only beginning to read." She nodded, her eyes meeting mine. "A message from what, though?" "That's what we're here to answer." The team regrouped at the monitoring station, the air heavy with anticipation. Final assessment. Dr. Patel said, her voice steady but tense. "Do we attempt to open the door?" One by one, team leaders gave their recommendations. The science team voted yes, eager for answers. Security expressed caution, but deferred to research priorities. Technical specialists confirmed all equipment was functional. All eyes turned to me, their weight a burden I couldn't escape. Griffin Dr. Patel said, "You've seen what's beyond. You understand the risks." I thought of Theo, crushed under stone. His warning echoing, "Don't let anyone else come through." The pit's darkness, the whispers, the structures that defied physics. They were all waiting. But so was the truth. The need to understand, to make his death mean something. "We open it," I said, my voice steady despite the fear. "But follow protocols exactly. At the first sign of danger, we withdraw and seal the tunnel." Dr. Patel nodded, her face grim. "Prepare for approach and potential activation." The next 30 minutes were a flurry of activity. Primary team members, including me, Dr. Patel Ramirez, and 2 specialists donned advanced protective gear. Its fabric heavy but reassuring. Helmet cameras were checked, comms tested, emergency protocols reviewed. Remember, I told the team, my voice, firm nothing beyond follows our rules. Physics, time-space. Stay together, stay focused. Don't look too long at anything that moves strangely. We moved down the tunnel in formation, each step heavier, the cold seeping through our gear. The door loomed, its symbols glowing brighter, as if sensing our intent. 5 meters out, we stopped the cold, intense, the air thick with that metallic scent. The cymbals seemed to shift, becoming still when looked at directly, a trick that made my skin crawl. Final checks. Dr. Patel said her breath fogging in the frigid air. Helmets sealed oxygen, flowing recording devices active. I stared at the door, the spiral pattern calling to me, a silent command that echoed Colorado's nightmare. Theo's face flashed in my mind, his warning a chain around my heart. I was the only one who'd crossed a door and returned, and now I'd lead others into the unknown. The weight of it was crushing, but I couldn't turn back. Not now. Not after everything. The door stood before us, a monolith of dread, its symbols pulsing with a light that wasn't ours. I approached slowly, my heart pounding, the cold seeping through my gear, a chill that wasn't just temperature, but a warning from another world. This was it, the moment we'd face what killed Theo. The spiral pattern glowed faintly, its curves a silent command, pulling at me like a tide. My gloved hand hovered over it, memories of Colorado flooding back the door's vibration, the cavern's vastness, Theo's broken body. I took a deep breath, the air sharp with that metallic, organic scent, and steadied myself. Beginning activation sequence. I said my voice, steady for the team, though fear churned inside me. Approaching contact with primary spiral pattern, my finger touched the stone, tracing the spiral's curves. Each movement a step toward the unknown. For a moment, nothing happened. The chamber silent, save for the hum of our equipment. Then a low vibration rumbled through the ground, a pulse that shook my bones. The symbols glowing brighter, their light shifting through colors I couldn't name. I stepped back, my breath fogging, as the door began to move slowly. At first, then, with gathering momentum, the massive slab swung inward, cold air rushing out, burning my lungs, carrying that same metallic scent I'd never forget. The door opened fully, revealing a cavern that stretched beyond our lights, its vastness defying the mountain's geology. Towering structures rose from the floor, their surfaces gleaming with an inner glow, twisting at angles that hurt to look at. Bridges spanned the void platforms, floated without support, all pulsing with that sickly light. Signal from secondary team confirms full recording. Dr. Patel said, her voice tight with excitement and fear. We're documenting everything. I took a deep breath, the cold air searing my throat, and stepped forward, my boots silent on the polished floor. The team followed their headlamps cutting through the darkness, their breaths fogging in the frigid air. The cavern was alive, its structures humming faintly, the crystals overhead pulsing in a rhythm that felt like a heartbeat. The symbols from the door appeared on the floor, larger, more complex, their patterns shifting as we moved. I felt it, the presence, watching, weighting its weight, pressing against my mind. "We go through," I said, my voice steady, despite the terror clawing at me. "We find out what's been calling us." The team moved into position, their gear clanking softly, their faces pale but resolute. The cavern stretched before us, its structures twisting in ways that defied reason. Their glow a sickly green that made my stomach churn. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, weaving through the air in a language no human could speak. They weren't just sounds. They were a presence, a chorus of voices urging us deeper, promising answers we weren't ready for. My headlamp flickered its beam, struggling against the darkness, and I felt the pits pull somewhere in the distance, its swirling darkness, waiting. I crossed the threshold, the team behind me, their steps echoing strangely in the cavern's unnatural acoustics. The cold deepened, sinking into my bones, the air heavy with that metallic scent. The structures loomed their angles, bending in ways that made my mind ache, their surfaces warm, despite the chill, as if alive. The crystals pulsed faster, their light searing my eyes, and the whispers swelled a cacophony that threatened to drown my thoughts. I clutched my notebook, the symbols a fragile anchor to reality, and took another step deeper into the unknown. Theo's warning echoed. "Don't let anyone else come through." But I had no choice, not anymore. The doors were opening, and we were the ones who'd answer their call, whether we were ready or not. The cavern waited its secrets, pulsing in the darkness, and I knew we were no longer alone.